I hope I don't turn here. No! Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back in Rails Unlimited on Roblox, and today we are joined by Railroadpreserver, and we are also checking out a brand new update. So yeah guys, let's get into the video. And as you can see, Railroad has just passed by there, and one of the brand new locomotives, now it is a random locomotive, which means you can get different variants from that one locomotive spawn. So we're going to go ahead and get to showcasing these locomotives. Alright, here we have the Roanoke Runner, and as I mentioned previously, this is a random spawning locomotive, so you can get different variants with each spawn. Now this is actually different to the one Railroad was using, because this is the Roanoke Southern version, and he was driving the, what were you driving earlier?
Norfolk and Western version.
Yeah, Norfolk and Western version. So, yeah. Now, this is a really nicely detailed locomotive along with the consist. And speaking about the consist, would you like to go ahead and discuss a little bit about that?
Yes. And speaking of the southern part of the name, take note of how your lead locomotive is currently running right now. It's running long hood forward. Now, if you remember when you and I met up at the Railroad Museum in Chattanooga, they had one of these locomotives in the Southern Railway scheme.
Yes, they did, and I actually have a photo that I can put up on screen right now.
Yes, but if you're wondering why the locomotive is running long hood forward, that's because when the Southern Railway ran their locomotives, they ran them with dual controls so that they could run the engine in either direction without having to turn it around at each destination. And also, the other reason it was run in long hood forward was because it was thought that if the engine was in a collision, the long hood, the part that has the engine, generator, and all that, would actually protect the crew in the cab.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I think that would protect them because you have all of this. Well, it's not really a crumple zone. It's really a solid locomotive. It's filled with, you know, cast iron steel and the cylinders or the engines, as well as what you said, the generators and whatnot. So I think under a collision, it would really just kind of push back, to be honest, but definitely a crumple zone. And there you can see a new set of track there for the tram line, which we will be checking out in a little bit.
Also, that bridge was new, but yeah, Southern Railway and Norfolk and Western both had high hood locomotives of this type and high hoods of later models. And all were designed to run long hood forward, and all were subsequently utilized by Norfolk Southern until fairly recently. A lot of these units after retirement were scrapped, sent for preservation, or sold to short lines. In fact, a short line near me actually has two Norfolk Southern units, which I guess are of Southern Railway vintage, if I'm not mistaken. So if a friend of mine who works for the railroad sees this, he could probably correct me on that.
Now that we have the actual locomotive history taken care of, how about the consist here?
Yes, and this is actually a rather unique consist. So if you could slow the train to about 20 miles an hour so I can catch up and go over it. So you've got the locomotives, you've got the not Southern Railway, listen to me talk. Those may be coming soon, but you've got the NS locomotives here running long hood forward. Behind them, you've got a Railbox boxcar. There's two Conrail boxcars, a Penn Central covered hopper, a Burlington Northern covered hopper, a Norfolk Southern boxcar, two N&W covered hoppers, a Milwaukee Road boxcar, Chicago Northwestern grain hopper, two Detroit, Toledo, and Ironton hopper cars. That's an iron ore railroad, I believe, or one that hauled iron ore at one point. And then to the very back, as I said, you have the second Conrail boxcar, and also, if you can go into scenic view, or if I can spawn this train in, there's a very unique device on the very back of the car.
Is it a red light?
An end of train device, and what that is used for is...
Oh yeah, I see it there, yeah.
Yeah, I forget exactly what it's used for, but I know it's one of the things that led to a lot of the iconic cabooses you saw on the end of trains being retired by the 80s and 90s, because it eliminated the need for having a manned caboose at the end of the train to look for problems, you know, hot boxes, dragging equipment, etc. Basically, that's what the end of train device is used for. It detects that stuff, and I think it either stops the train or lets, I guess, the railroad know of what's going on. Yeah, Jesse, I think we're running a bit late, don't you think? It's getting
Yes,
kind
I
of dark.
know. It is getting a bit dark. I think we're going to need to speed up just a little bit. I think you could help us out a little bit with that, right?
Yes, after all, we are cargo moving people, aren't we?
You know,
Excuse me,
I think we're
Margaret.
accelerating just a little bit here. But luckily, we are at a straightaway, so all I need you to do is slow us down when we get right around the corner, okay? So braking would be applied now. Railroad, I'd slow down. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow. And all the cars just ripped off. All right, beautiful. So, yeah, we may have had a small incident, which may have resulted in the death of a few Robloxians. And the destruction of just a few buildings and power poles. But, luckily, the lead engine is 100% okay right now. Alright, here we have the Northwest Autorag. Now, this is a locomotive we checked out in the last video, and I know Railroad is dying to correct himself on this. He mentioned that these were GEVOs. That is absolutely incorrect. What are they, Railroad?
They are SD70 Aces. Oh,
There
and by the
you
way,
go.
we're crossing that Norfolk and Western Bridge right now.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Wow. Yeah, we're going to have to check that out when it actually becomes day out, because obviously we can barely see anything at night. Surprisingly,
Run to
the
the ground.
locomotives...
I'm dead, apparently. Yep, I died. Oh, there's also a new coal depot. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think we can't get to it by the main rail line, so... Oh, I'm hearing RAL, or train dev, is passing through with their accurate-sized Norfolk Southern coal train.
Oh, where's that?
Grande Central.
Oh, I'm heading down that way right now, so I'll go ahead and blow my whistle and speed up a little bit here.
By the way, they've updated the crossing gates here, and they have all of the modern flashers and lights and whatnot.
Ooh, really? Okay, I am a big fan of crossing signals. I hope I don't turn here. No! Okay, yeah, they have definitely updated these crossing signals. Now, I believe that these are designed just for Grande Central, or are they pretty much all around the map now?
I think they're scattered throughout the map with different crossing variants being used. I think, if I'm not mistaken, from what one of the devs told me, there may be some vintage railroad crossing signals coming later on down the road, including an earlier type this type of crossing replaced, which is called a wigwag, basically a single light, a single flashing light that's mounted on a kind of pendulum, you know, like a clock.
Oh, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. So it's kind of like a bar that, you know, moves back and forth, and then there's a single light at the top, correct?
Yes, with a bell. In fact, very recently, there was still one in active use on a main line out in Delhi, Colorado, but it was retired this year.
I'm waiting for... Oh, take a look. There's a locomotive coming. Let's see how these crossing signals work. All right, here they go. They're going down, and wow, that bullet train is shooting past there. Is that a new bullet train?
That's actually the Shinkansen. That's a really well-known bullet train in Japan.
Wow, is that new? Oh, take a look. Steam locomotive. Oh, no, it isn't a steam locomotive. It looked like it, but it's Norfolk Southern.
This is Rail's train right here. Take note of how long this thing is. This is accurate. I've seen
Oh, wow, look at this. Look at behind the crossing here.
Now, I'll tell you, this is what a lot of the coal trains that you see coming out of West Virginia and Virginia look like. They're over 2 miles long. Usually up in Pennsylvania, they'll have helper locomotives on the back.
Yeah, but there it goes. Alright, here we have the next locomotive we are checking out, and this is the Eastern Local Work in Progress. So if you thought it was done completely, you would be wrong. It's still being worked on. And yeah, Railroad is also driving right behind us, as you can see there. And what's going on with this locomotive, Railroad?
Yeah, so basically I think they just updated it to where it's a little bit more detailed. Because if you remember the original one, I believe it was Southern Pacific and 3 unnamed boxcars.
Well, hold on. Which original one are you talking about? Because Eastern Local goes way back.
I honestly don't know, but either way, this is the current rendition, which has a Conrail diesel. I don't recall the type, so don't bother asking me. 2 Railbox boxcars, a Penn Central boxcar, and a Conrail bay window caboose. So this would probably be what you would see switching around like an industrial park, switching different industries and whatnot. Hence why it's only like 3 to 5 cars long. Whenever it's 5 cars if you count the engine, of course. But yeah, this is one that you would have probably seen in probably the late 70s, early 80s, when the caboose was still common. Yeah, just like that there. Of course, you just blew through there. So I'm afraid you might have to be, I believe that mistake must be corrected.
All right, Railroad, are you ready for a race?
I'm ready.
All right,
Question
let's
is, are
go.
you? Because I'm afraid your race is going to go in the opposite direction.
Wait, what? No!
Time to go in reverse. In this
Uh-oh.
service. Okay, hang on.
Uh-oh, 140? Oh, this is not good. This is going to be really bad. Somehow I'm not flipping over. Uh-oh, the cars are starting to rattle. Uh-oh, oh gosh. No! Collision. But I'm still going. Oh my gosh, that is loud. Oh, it's gone. There was the derailment.
Don't despawn it. I'm coming to you. We're passing a massive BNSF freight train right now.
Yeah, I literally went through that locomotive in like 5 seconds. Alright, here we have the Ocean City Classic. Now, this is a very special locomotive. It is actually not a locomotive, but technically called a tram or trolley, however you want to pronounce it. For me, it's a tram, but for others, obviously, as I mentioned, it could be a trolley. Now, as you can see, or a streetcar, yeah. In San Francisco, they definitely call them that. And as you can see, there's a whole new station here, and it allows us to actually go underground as well. And somehow, oh, well, that problem's been dealt with. So yeah, now we are in the city. Or the main suburb, and this is where we can pick up people, not really, but hopefully in the future, and drop them off at different stations. So this is really cool. Now, sadly, there's no interior, so you can't actually pick up real people. I know some older Rails Unlimited locomotives actually have that. But yeah, it's very cool to see trolleys, trams, or mini locomotives traveling through the world of Rails Unlimited.
This is, I think, the first tram/streetcar system in Rails Unlimited. I think early on in the game there were spots where it looked like there'd be some, but they were never added. But now, after about 4 years, they finally were. And interesting thing about the tram you're driving, or streetcar you're driving, those are, I think, some that were used by a transit authority somewhere in California. They got them in the 80s and they recently replaced them. So, yeah. And what's interesting is that was part of a trend where a lot of the streetcar lines are being revived. Like a lot of cities that used to have streetcar systems back in, like, I think the 19-teens until about, like, I think the 1930s or 40s have started rebuilding a lot of their old streetcar systems. Like, for instance, Atlanta, Georgia had a system of streetcar lines that ran throughout downtown until about 1949, and now almost 70, 80 years later, they've revived that whole operation. Whether or not it's gotten a good bit of ridership, well, I really don't know, because I don't go to Atlanta much.
Uh-oh, why am I not stopping?
Don't know, mate. I think you're going back to where you came, though.
Why am I still accelerating?
Because you may or may not have disabled your brakes.
I may or may not. I have my brakes all the way full right now. Oh my gosh. Oh, dead. Absolutely dead. Everybody on the train is dead. Yeah.
Actually, since we were testing, I don't believe anybody died except for you. So I think everybody's fine.
All right, here is a brand new depot, and this is called the Coal Depot. Now, I don't know if locomotives can actually get to this, can they?
I would think so, but as you can see, I've actually got some history behind this after Jesse's done explaining it. But
no, go ahead. I'm all finished. Go ahead and tell me about this place. It looks really interesting.
Well, although this is called a coal depot, it's actually known as a coal tipple or coal loader. And this is what you would normally see deep in the mountains of Virginia, West Virginia, anywhere where they mined coal. Now, a lot of these are no longer in use. In fact, up in West Virginia, or either West Virginia or Kentucky, they've preserved one of these to give you an idea of what one would look like. All of these tracks here are actually holding tracks where, yeah, when a coal train would come in that's empty,
somebody has disabled time itself.
These are holding tracks. Basically what they would be used for is when a coal train comes in, one that's not loaded, one that's empty, there would be an on-site switch engine, whether it be steam or diesel, or electric. And what they would do is they'd break the train consist up and have the cars stored. And then they'd slowly move each cut through the over or under the coal loaders, these coal chutes you see underneath the building. Now those would drop coal down into the hopper cars, which they have an abandoned one right here if you come and look.
Oh, where's that? Oh, yeah, I noticed something rusty over here, but I didn't know it was actually the...
Yeah, but they would load the coal into these coal hoppers here, and then they'd get the different cuts and reassemble them into a loaded train, and then the train would be shipped out.
Railroad, we have a visitor.
Yeah. Who?
Oh no. Oh no, get off the tracks!
Oh no, but this is accurate. Right here we have two helper locomotives, probably going to get a cut of coal hoppers to bring through, I guess.
Alright, here we have a brand new town called Courtenay, and this is based in Canada, as you can see right there. And take a look at this, a Pro-Line locomotive, or a Conrail locomotive, passing through this very small town here. And as you can see, it's about to cross the track or the road here, and yeah.
Also, the coal depot we were at, I think that actually references a coal hauling railroad that was out in, I think, Montana or Nevada. It was one of two remaining electric railroads left in the U.S.
It makes sense why it's out there, because it kind of gives that look of a western, kind of midwestern to western station, or obviously coal depot, but yeah. Now the one thing I really like is just seeing small towns like this in game, because it gives it so much more life to it, you know, passing through a small town. And yeah, I mean, it really speaks for itself. I don't really have anything else to say about it, but it's just really nice to see.
Amir, we have a more appropriate train stopping at the station. It's one of the Via Rail LRCs.
Oh, wow, look at this. Let me cross here.
Imagine going at ludicrous speed, even though I don't know who's driving this thing.
It would be really nice to be able to, like, sit in these locomotives and, you know, wait at a station, and then the train comes, you board the train, and then it takes you to a different place. It's really nice to also just walk around, you know?
Yes.
Oh, it looks like they're about to leave, so let's go ahead and film them leaving the station now. So, here we go.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Railroad, you went around that corner so fast, you were literally flying.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Oh, take note of the semaphore I just raised.
Oh, wow.
And they also have the old... I just noticed, once this train passes, you'll see them.
Okay.
Look at the telephone lines. They have the old glass insulators.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Yeah, I see that up there as well. Well, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. I discovered my new favorite town in-game, and we basically reviewed a few other brand new locomotives. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.